Now that we got the shipping brackets off, we're going to move to the oil tank. So we're going to assemble the oil pump, attach it on there. We got some filters here, a filter here, and a basket here. We're going to go ahead and start with the oil pump. So the first thing we're going to want to do is remove the 4 screws here. All right, now that they are off, let's grab our oil pump. Make sure you attach it this way. All right, so we can go ahead and start lining up the holes and all right, one more to go. We are going to install the filters. So we'll start here. Okay, the last one's gonna go. Okay, let's go ahead and just make sure here. Okay, just line it up. Now you could go ahead and tighten it on there. All right, that works. We're going to move on to the basket, bracket, and the cover. So we'll start with the basket in this case. Okay, that's on there. We'll move over to our bracket. Using these. Okay. All right, let's move over to the cover. Is the last piece. Now that we have this oil tank assembled, before we go ahead and put that on there, we're going to put on this outer component that attaches to the chip tank. So there's a couple things we could do to make our life easier, right? So we're gonna take these 3 off here. All right, 1, 2, 3, and then go ahead and take this bottom one as well. So take this hose out the way. It'll make everything a lot easier. So let's go ahead and do that now. Screw these back a little bit. And try to center this as best you can on each corner. Perfect. Okay. Now that we got that on there, let's go ahead and start putting these in. One more there. It's probably a good idea we do this one first. So let's attach that hose. All right, we could go ahead and tighten all of them now that we got them all on there. So. Go ahead and double check this one. And that is attached. We can now move forward of sliding the oil tank forward. Okay, now that we have attached our outer component to the chip tank, we can go ahead and slide our oil tank on there, attach this hose and the electrical connection there. So let's go ahead and get started there. Let's see here. It's also a good idea to remove this cover depending on where you leveled the machine. So let's go ahead and take that off so it doesn't run into anything. Okay. Okay. We could go ahead and grab our cover, go ahead and install that back in. All right, that's all good. Now we could go ahead and move on to making this connection here. So it's probably a good idea to loosen this first. Go ahead and position it to where you have access to it. So. We now have our electrical connection here. So it's going to be this one. So just go ahead and unclip this. It's going to be the one that says pump coolant. So now go ahead and attach that on there like so, and that completes the installation of the oil tank on the machine. Now that we got the oil tank installed on the machine, the final piece is just installing this cover on, right? And now we're going to move on to filling up the machine with cutting oil. So now that we got the oil tank installed on there, to fill up the machine with cutting oil, we're going to come over here, take this cover off, remove it, right? And as you're filling up the oil, you know, obviously keep an eye on this, fill it up to its maximum level, watching this and this. And that's all there is to fill up the machine with oil. Okay, so now that we, you know, topped off the machine with cutting oil, we're gonna go over here to our access door, open that up here, and we are gonna double check our cooling liquid tank, make sure it's topped off. Okay, and we are also going to double check the central lubrication system. That's right. So now that we checked our fluids, we can go ahead and attach compressed air to the machine. So you're going to go to air inlet, right? You're going to loosen this here. So let's go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and take that off. Go ahead and set that aside. All right. Now you're going to grab a fitting, right? Put a little bit of Teflon on it. And then you grab your air hose. There's no air going to this line right now, it's closed, but go ahead and attach it on there. Now you could go over and open up the air, and that completes getting air to the machine. Before we send any power to the machine, you guys want to make sure that the wires are secure. Give them, pull them a little, make sure they don't come out. Once you do that, you could go ahead and send power to the machine. And the next step is going to be to check the phasing. So I have my phase meter here, I'm L1, right? So it's going to go to line 1 there, L2. And the bottom one here, oh, actually, there you go, L3, all right. So I have it all connected to the correct lines, and as you can see, my phasing is correct clockwise. Okay, once you check the phasing, you want to give the machine one last check. So in this case, go ahead and put this panel back on there, right? So it screws on like this. Okay, that's done. You also want to make sure that the nut here is also tight, so that's good. Once you check all that, we can go ahead and move forward to power on the machine.